foreign to a lot of people. Mixing medicinal herbs with food producers, it's something that's not new at all, but it's new to a lot of people. So
let me ask you this: does the
sure.
medicinal system that is used, does it follow any established medicinal system of herbalists that herbalists use, or Ayurveda or whatever?
You
or
can do
is it
either
its own?
one.
It's its own. You can
No,
do whatever.
no, that's up to you.
Whatever
You're in
you
charge.
like.
Remember,
Okay. I just wondered.
you're in charge.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see
I was
more
curious.
Ayurvedic herbs growing.
Wouldn't that be
And
good? Yeah.
so far, we've got ashwagandha.
Oh, good. Is it doing well?
It's doing well, but you know, the guy that taught me had almost a full acre,
Oh, really?
and he was raising all the herbs too, because he was relating to Santa Cruz, and they have an act. If you go to Santa Cruz, there's a couple places that are really into selling herbs. So anyway, I just want to kind of get you an idea that there's a lot. The definition is bigger than you think. So Sepp Holzer, that's the guy right there. I like his definition because it includes all the main points. All elements interact in the system. Multifunctionality. So if you have a plant that produces not only medicinal purposes, food purposes, also is what's called a dynamic accumulator, goes into the soil and draws out the minerals. And we've got lots of comfrey here. That's one of the primary examples. Then you've got multifunctionality. And that could include livestock. If you're going to have rabbits, if you're going to have chickens, you've got multifunctionality. The other one, energy use, practical, efficient, and renewable. The idea is to use the natural resources that are available. Intensive systems in a small area. So, what we're really talking about is taking that pattern that you've got in your mind, taking the pattern you may have drawn out, and working within a small system. And that can be like a bio-intensive type of thing. It could be, if you want to use square foot gardening. But the whole idea is those plants are working together. And so is the water that's being stored. And that's a huge key to this. Use and shape natural processes and cycles. And I included my thing, which is planting by the phases of the moon on the back, because that's a natural process. Support and use edge effects. Here, when we talk about edges, because when we started this, the idea was to have as many people as we could, 92 separate beds. So our edges are bordered by redwood. And the kind of garden that we're going to devise, that can be an edge, but you look at the edges, and you see, are you growing something that's going to really take the sun? Are you growing something that's going to be interacting with the next space? Diversity instead of monoculture. And I encourage you to go to the terms if you're not familiar with monoculture versus polyculture. Who isn't familiar with that idea? My daughter isn't. Okay, monoculture is like growing just grapes or just cabbage. And when you grow monoculture, you have a chance of more pests coming in. Polyculture is growing plants together. That's why I included, this is my list of companion planting is an old one, but it gives you a primary and practical example. Eric over here, because this is, right here, this is the tomato capital of Sunnyvale. If anybody knows how many plants, I know Rocco might know, they may have 100 tomato plants in those 2 rows. He's still going to plant, I've pushed him to plant companions with them. Basil, carrots. Ideally planting celery and others helps. So, the other part, you've all seen the ethics and tenets. And the reason I started this program was to at least mimic that part of permaculture, and that was the care of the earth, care of people, return of surplus. So the Food Forest program of donation is such that we provide a lot of biomass to the composting program, which we're going to take a look at. many of you guys have seen it, but we pick the food and give that away. And so we're really taking care of, there's 13 families that get that food. Yeah, but also Rocco here has been getting food from Trader Joe's and giving it to us, which is surplus. Rocco, how much was there? $3,000 worth the other day that they give away?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. There's
It's like
a
day
lot
old
of
stuff,
surplus out there.
Yeah, well, in the master gardening area here, and then anything that the master gardeners don't take after, during the
Yeah.
season, we get lots of crop. And then one of the person takes it over to the food things.
Oh, you do? Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So that's one of the primary things. And just the sheer fact of the amount of food that's wasted, but now can be surplus, is becoming a primary issue. And look at the success and escalation of Whole Foods, for instance. Everybody wants organic. Everybody wants this, well, they hopefully want
Not
sustainable.
everybody.
Well, not everybody,
A
but
lot of people do.
those people that shop at Whole Foods primarily are now, and it's good. It's a great thing because they've been trained to know what's what, and of course, there are other markets like in Santa Cruz where they're really buying locally because they're taking in small amounts. San Francisco, I think there's examples like that, right, Glenn? So that's where we're going now.
May I say locally in Palo Alto, there's a store called Country Sun that has a
Country
totally
Sun.
organic produce department, as well as Rainbow in the City. Totally organic produce department. So if you want that,
But
that's where you
are
go.
they getting stuff from people in
I
Palo Alto
assume it-
or
maybe
Mountain
not
View?
Palo Alto, but locally.
Right. Well, that's coming.
So they tell me.
That's coming even more. Anyway, my plan was to kind of go through these, and we were going to walk around, but it's too hot to really to focus on all of these. But basically, understand that these principles, as Mollison and Holmgren set them out, are fairly simple. There's things you're already doing, but because of the pace of life, you may not observe and interact a new place enough. And it's all about taking the time to really engage. And not even making a list, just going around and seeing how things work together. When we came to this, were you there when we first looked at the land before it was, yeah, because we had to excavate, trees were taken down, but we all walked around, and we did this more than once. So that's why I say people buying a piece of property or they've got an existing piece of property, take time to really look and see how things are. Catch and store energy. Well, we're always doing that because we're collecting energy from the sun. But the idea is we try to harvest at a peak abundance, a time of peak abundance. And that can mean wind, solar, directly, water, not just... Are you going to walk around? Go ahead. Not just plants. It's my daughter and granddaughter. So that leads us to this, obtaining a yield. It's no use doing any of this unless you can get something. And that's why the first thing I planted were strawberries, so I could have them right away. And the idea of obtaining a yield is you have extra, so you can give that away or trade it. And now this is a biggie. Apply self-regulation and accept feedback. So, especially around here, the system isn't going to function well unless if something isn't working and you see it isn't working, it's okay to say, hey, I've got to change it. I've got to stop. Now the thing about permaculture, once you get into it, is you build in redundancy. By building in redundancy, Like for instance, say a gardener had this plot. Something happened, peppers, there's an insectiary to get beneficials. Say something happened and the peppers weren't doing well, it would be a crisis. With permaculture, you always have redundancy, so you have something extra there. And produce no waste. We all know what that is. That's be sure you're valuing everything that's coming off what you're growing, what you're doing. And because here we've got a closed system with the composting, that makes a huge difference. So again, there's levels to this. Whether you have a worm bin or you have a compost bin, whether you're saving seeds, the idea is that it's all going back into the carbon and nitrogen cycles. Design from patterns to details. I didn't specifically have any diagrams about, all you have to do is look at a leaf or look at nature and you'll see that there's spiral patterns. There's essentially, because nature avails you to all kinds of geometric shapes, you can design using them if you like. But you take that into a more detailed system. The other one is integrate rather than segregate. And this is really about putting things together as opposed to putting them off on a side and seeing how they work together. Use small and slow solutions. And here we're really talking about patience, because most people I have seen, and like I shop at Costco for various reasons, and I think probably a lot of people do, and they'll give you a tomato plant this big. It's not going to be the same as growing it from seed, putting it in the ground, and watching it, and then designing your system with it. So I encourage the whole slow movement, slow food movement, slow growing movement. Use and value diversity, and we're going to go into some details there. But what happens is, again, with monoculture, you just have a vulnerability that you don't have with these systems. And then again, use the edges and value the marginal. We talked about that. And I'm not, like I say, I'm really talking about a system where you may have a raised bed in one place, but you've got something else next to it. You've got a pathway that's leading you somewhere else. And creatively use and respond to change. It's more than just feedback. In this case, it could be 120-degree weather. It could be like, wow, we just had a hailstorm. So this allows you to do a lot of that.